Hi guys, what an exciting match that was, or at least it would have been if the teams turned up. We are hearing, at least I am hearing in my earpiece, that there is a no-show and we have no information on where the teams are currently. So right now I suspect there's some very annoyed CCP employees over in Iceland frantically poking captains and hunting down the missing teams. If you find them, please dial 1-800, here's the goddamn teams. Now, I guess we just talk about what could have happened. So what could have happened in that match, Jintan? What could they have brought?
Well, I mean, there's a great many comps that you can bring. Like, one of the most interesting parts of this new format that's been developed is that you don't really see very specialized comps anymore, at least from the practices that I've seen. You can't just ban one or two ships because compositions are very rarely based around one or two ships. Like, for example, in the previous AT, during the latter parts of it, one of the most important compositions was the double Rook and Chameleon comp. Who was it? It was the Russian team.
Vidra and Hydra.
Vidra and Hydra, yeah. They brought that team to the forefront. And that's a team that you can't really field right now. You'd have to field like Chameleon, Falcon, Rook, and banning out just one of those kills that entire composition. So you can't do quite the same style of theory crafting you would before. You've got to find out what the good ships are and start pushing them and figuring out which ones work well together, which ones have synergy. It's much more like a MOBA style pick and ban than the more traditional composition-based one that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, the pick and ban for the Alliance Tournament is obviously a little bit different compared to other esports tournaments. For example, the EVE-NT Championship, where we use a back and forward MOBA style banning, and this year we moved to 3 bans in the Alliance Tournament fully. Last year it was just part of it, as you mentioned earlier on. Now, I'm hearing chatter that the match has been found. I believe it's in a different arena than expected, so we might be able to, within a minute or so, move to that arena and see the match. I don't know which match it's going to be. I mean, it could just be a bunch of random people that don't know they're in a match. Maybe just CCP Fozzies just picked 10 random players around the universe and moved them together into an arena and said, fight for our entertainment. But hopefully it would be the Purple Helmeted Warriors versus Odin's Call. That would be interesting. That'd be lovely if we could see that match at some point.
Absolutely.
We are good to move to the other arena. This is all working exactly as planned. We got one match in and then we lost the tournament. We just couldn't find it, but now we found it again. We got about 3 people upstairs very, very frantically trying to find it, and we're moving to the arena now.
Stabilize.
Ithaca does a great job of
on
like
their Navy
ad-libbing.
Mega, which I mean, even then, their Navy Mega is quite comfortably right now being rep by his Ogre, no problem. And there is a swarm of rep bots on the actual Purple Helmeted Warrior Ogre, so he himself is doing fine, and the Navy Harbinger just went down. So I think it's about to be game over for Odin's Call here.
Yeah, you know, it was salvageable, but you know, now that they're losing the rest of their core, you know, with that Leshak loss probably was the beginning of the end for Odin's Call here. But you know, it isn't technically over yet, so we might still be able to believe. But with this Harvey going down into structure, it's becoming really, really, really hard, despite as optimistic as I like to be in these matches.
Absolutely. So I'm quite surprised on this triple battleship core. They were just completely uncontested by Odin's Call. They let them do whatever they wanted, and they got punished for it, honestly. Those triple battleships just went in and just rolled the Blackbird. The Blackbird did actually try to burn away, but he was just too slow, and then after that, they just went on the Leshak, and it was pretty much game over. Navy Mega on 0, Praxis on 0, and Leshak at 0, all against your one battleship. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, he just died. He just let them roll over. It's really bad.
I was kind of hoping that the screening from the Odin's Call team here would be a little bit stronger, you know, so like, because they really needed to keep those battleships away just to give their battle cruisers enough time to take something out. Maybe that's due to some piloting error, maybe that's due to the Rook just really choosing intelligent jams at the correct moments in the match, you know, jamming the screens first, then jamming the DPS, then jamming the Logi as and when you need to, just like being really good at managing that. But obviously we won't be able to know until we talk to the pilots after the match what really went on with those jam cycles.
Yeah, I think the jam cycle's really, really played out there. You've got the Rook, which is obviously the T2 variant of the Blackbird, and maybe the Blackbird did get some nice jams, but I think that Rook may have skewed his jams towards maybe Caldari and Galente. I mean, we don't know yet, so it'll be interesting to see what those jams are on the Blackbird side as well. The Odin Skull Blackbird, what were they trying to jam? Did they skew any jams as well? But we won't know until those Killmares come out.
Yep, so we're just seeing a little bit of cleanup going on. Odin's Call are making them work for it, running their ships all the way around. We've got that Vexor running away. We looks like we got a scramble from the Magus to the Ears. More scrambles coming from the Vengeance to the Pontifex there. So they're slowly being tackled down and taken out, but few will be advancing to the next round. Do you know who few are going to face on their way through?
I don't know. I don't have that information on me, I'm afraid.
Give me 1 second, I'm bringing it up. It looks like we have... Okay, so it is going to be... they will be facing the winners of Tusker's Burn, but Burn pulled out of the Alliance tournaments, I believe, so that means that Purple Helmeted Warriors have Tusker's next match, which is, you know, not a match many teams would look forward to as their next round.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough match. It'll be definitely a trial by fire, by no stretch of the imagination. I also have a look at this Praxis on the Purple Helms of Warriors side, and it's actually auto cannon fit. So lots of high range, lots of low range, high damage layout right there.
Yeah. What do you think about autocannons as a practice choice? I mean, do you like the fact that it's capless, so you're not too worried about being muted, or would you prefer something else?
For the Praxis, I think autocannons are probably a pretty reasonable choice, honestly. They are capless, as you said, and cap warfare in the AT is very important. And you've got selectable damage types as well, so you can, you know, switch out fusion against the Aneros, for example, or an armor setup. They're just very, very much it's a versatile weapon. And they have good range as well, so if it's not blaster, you know, you're not at zero. Even if they're at 30 kilometers, you can still do some damage.
Yep, just the Vengeance and the Pontifex left alive now. The Vengeance ramming into the ball of the Few team, trying to save his buddy, the Pontifex, but Pontifex does go down. Vengeance just running in, possibly to finish this match, maybe trying to just suicide onto the Punisher or something, running right through the middle. He's getting tackled by absolutely everything, and here he goes. Vengeance finally going down to be the last ship of the match. And what is the next match we will be looking at here, Reload?
Let me check. I think it is... no, it's Exodus versus CVA.
Oh,
that's going to be an interesting match.
Be a sick match. Like, CVA are this consistently underrated team, and then Exodus are known as a fantastic team, but you know they've been falling off as of the last few years. But with that last ship down, that is the end of this match. Few go through to face Tuskers in the next round. Goodbye to Odin's Call. You guys are going down to the losers bracket. You are not out yet, but you got a long grind through to go deep in this tournament. We will see you guys for the next match.
Doing the same thing as they did last time. They're just charging straight in towards the enemy. They have no fear.
Purple Helmeted Warriors there stomping all over Odin's Call. Absolute clean sweep for that match. Good job by Few. once we found the match, we were able to see it. Now, just to understand what's happened is one of the other matches that was supposed to be in the main arena, which was a match with the Bastard Cartel. The Bastard Cartel Alliance, in the run-up to the Alliance Tournament 16, actually had the cheek to fold. So the team basically doesn't exist anymore. So that match was no longer happening. That meant Black Legion gets a bye and moves on to the next round. The plan was originally to move the Purple Helmeted Warriors match into the main arena. Something got lost in translation somewhere, and that did not happen. That's why we lost the match. However, we found it, we showed it, everyone's happy.
Much like Pro God Legend, we got our match stuck in the wormhole.
Exactly. We got our match stuck in the wormhole. Purple Helmeted Warriors, I want to say a word that Purple Helmeted Warriors means, but they did that all over Odin's call. So we are going to show the next match, the Slice versus Wholesale Operations. There was some concern that that match would be skipped because Wholesale had, I think, forgotten to turn up, but they have been since corralled, and that match will be going on. So we are back on schedule. Nothing to see here. Let's move along. So, Suetonia, Wholesale Operation and Slice, as they're known. Can you tell me a little bit about those teams?
Okay, so Slice is sort of a member of Guardians of the Galaxy. They did fairly well last year, I believe. I think they went, was it 2-2 or 2-1?
They kind of really innovated a lot of... They brought a lot of strategies that people theorycraft, but are always like, no, that won't work, it's done. I believe they used hull-tanked battleships.
Yeah, hull-tank Vindicator.
T1 logistics frigates last AT, which was, I won't say it was good, but it was very interesting to watch. I'll give it that.
Yeah, and Wholesale, they didn't actually take part in the AT last year. I believe they're sort of a weird hybrid between a wormhole group that mostly focuses on evictions and war decking sort of alliance.
Yeah, I believe they're sort of a wormhole mercenary group. We've run into them a few times in wormholes before. Slice did pretty all right last year, if I remember correctly. They had a couple of kind of meme matches, but they were good. They had a couple solid wins. I can't remember where they placed, but
I think it was around 20, 21, somewhere around there.
Yeah, which is pretty respectable for essentially renters, basically. They're renters, aren't they?
Slice are definitely not renters. They're an independent alliance. It's 2018. Everyone's an independent
what we
alliance.
I see. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
Right. So
no,
fully independent Slice against fully independent Wholesale Operations. To clarify, no one's a renter or a pet. Is that correct, Jintan?
Yeah, but no, they have a really innovative captain, King Voodoo, so I'm really curious to see what he brings to the table with this. And I'm also curious to see what Wholesale bring, because obviously they have a very different play style to a lot of other people, as you explained. You know, they live in high-sec and wormholes at the same time.
Yeah, we've seen so far, I think a Leshak fielded in every match, all two of them, but we have seen Leshaks everywhere. I think, is that going to be the most fielded ship this tournament, do you think?
Until it gets the most banned, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be the most banned. I was going there, and you got there first. So last year, it was, I believe, the Balgorn everyone wanted to ban. That's why the Balgorn was so successful as a flagship. However, this year, the Leshak is the flagship, so it's basically unbannable if you bring a flag Leshak. Of course, flagship rules mean if you lose that Leshak, you can no longer field it again. So it is a risk bringing it. We saw a couple of teams last year bringing their flagship Balgorns in at 0, which is great idea, until you come up against Snuffed Out, who bring Blast of Vindicators in at 0. Now, we are going to have a slight change in schedule. Despite us talking about Slice, we are going to show the Exodus match next instead. So that should be a very interesting match, mainly because the Exodus team had a bit of strife in the last couple of months. They lost quite a few of their key players to Tuskers. Wasa QC, for example, he left and joined Tuskers. Tony, anything to add to this one?
Yeah, the CVA is also probably a lot better than what people expect. I know ES Cannon took part in the EVNT minor and major league. They got they advanced from the minor league up to the major league. I think they did get renegated again, but they did put on a very strong showing. And if you look at the Monzikyo board, you can see they've actually been flying together as a group a lot in the past. And as you mentioned, Exodus has maybe dropped down a bit. They lost a few key pilots. I believe you mentioned as well that Volta has actually been testing with Tuskers this year instead of Exodus, which was traditionally the Tuskers training partner. So they might also have maybe not quite as good of a training partner this year as well, which might mean that CVA might be able to get the upset here.
Yeah, I mean, Jen, why don't you tell us how CVA did last year in the Alliance Tournament?
CVA ended up facing off against Waffles, I believe, and did not do particularly well. But it's the first round of the AT.
That was
and
8014. I believe in 8015 the Alliance leader forgot to apply to the tournament.
Yes, that's right. That is exactly what Equi did.
Good attempt to deflect it, but we got there.
They also lost to the Culture, which resulted in you wearing a silly pink hat.
That was 8014. I think you'll find in 8015 I ended up wearing some lovely cat ears. We'll see. Put your suggestions in the chat now if you would like to see me or Suetonia wear something potentially stupid on stream.
Yeah, I mean, just to get serious for a minute, this is a very important matter that must be discussed. We've already been discussing it as a team outside. These two always do some sort of ridiculous bet that involves one of them wearing something stupid on stream. Jin Tan traditionally loses. And then Suetonia traditionally wins.
As is my position in life.
Yes.
Be real.
So we're trying to think of something this year for the forfeit that Jin, who will probably lose, will do. So if you have a suggestion, and the more lewd the better, please drop it in Twitch chat right now, and our lovely moderators will be picking that up, and they'll be putting them into some sort of database of suggestions, and we'll see what we can do.
And they'll probably be putting you in a database, given what I'm sure some of you are suggesting.
It's a risky move.
Don't lose the Jin Tans.
Luckily, we don't broadcast on terrestrial TV, so we don't have any watershed. So all suggestions appreciated. Now, coming up, it's going to be Exodus versus CVA. So maybe we should do a little bit of predictions here. Now, the thing about Exodus, as we mentioned, is they used to be like a solid top 4 team, but now they have potential to be aggressively mid-tier at best, I think, having lost some of their key pilots. CVA, on the other hand, have been working hard and, as you say, flying together on TQ, which is a really important thing, team cohesion and just like working together. As Exodus, most of them don't even play in TQ, they just play on Thunderdome. They're sort of a pure tournament team. So I think I'm going to have to give the benefit of the doubt to CVA on this one over Exodus. I think this could be the first upset that we might see from this tournament. What do you think, Jin?
Yeah, personally, I'm also going to go with CVA, but that's specifically because of the curse of good teams facing role players in the first round of the tournament, something that I'm sure a couple of teams you know of have fallen foul of.
I don't know what you're talking about. Please move along.
Suetonia?
I really would like to see CVA win it because it's always fun to watch the underdogs. I think Exodus still might take it, though.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be hotly contested. I don't think this is going to be an easy match for either team. Despite the fact that Exodus aren't the Exodus of old, they're still a solid, really good team with really good individual pilots. So, I mean, you can't be CVA and just underestimate them and say, oh, it's Exodus, they're kind of a bit crap now. It'll be an easy win. It's not going to be that case. It's going to be a hard-fought win for CVA or, alternatively, a hard-fought win for Exodus as well. So it really could go either way, this one. That match is coming up in about a minute. So predictions from me, I'm going for CVA. Jin? CVA.
I'm so torn. I'm going to go for Exodus just to be different to you two, but I really hope CVA wins.
Yeah. Here's a more interesting prediction. Do you think both teams will field a Lashak here?
Probably.
Or do we actually have bans at all?
We don't have bans to hand. That would be something that would be pretty cool, but we don't have that. But yeah, I think if Lashak's not banned, I think both teams will field it. I think both these teams have good enough theory crafters that they'll have spotted how strong the Lashak is this year, and I think it's going to be the ship that if you can pick it and it's not banned, you will pick it and you will use it. Especially because point reduced as well this year. So let's go find out who's going to win between CVA and Exodus now in the arena.